Was this the best thing that Marvel's ever done? Or
Are
something
you
else?
kidding me?
Guys, gals, and other pals, to another edition of the Final Credits, and this time we are taking a look at Secret Invasion. And oh boy, before we actually get into this, when we first started seeing trailers for this, I was against it from day one because I wasn't like it wasn't following the original comics. I know I'm acting kind of sweaty right now, but at the same time, the comic edition of Secret Invasion was a masterpiece from beginning to end, and it actually showed who can you really trust.
Yep.
Now, the Disney Plus did attempt to do this, but they also decided to try to make Nick Fury the main character. Questionable, but okay. And we also had a couple of us saying, like, you know what? I have faith in it because this is possibly the first grounded story that we could really get from the MCU in quite a long while. Because ever since it got to a certain point, everything now is space, time, multiverse issues, whatever. It's nice to actually get something back down on Earth when things are actually just happening with your feet on the ground. And oh boy,
Boy, was it
it was
heavy.
something. That's what it was. Right from the get-go, it had me scratching my head like, what's happening? Episode 2, as a collective, I think we were all just like, what? What's happening now? What is this person doing with that person? What is happening? What's going on? I don't understand anything. I just want to point out, this is a grounded story you guys all wanted, and this is what we got. So, raises a lot of questions, and even like the middle of the series, it didn't do it. You know what? After the second episode, for like 3 episodes, it was just like mid. Like nothing really happened. And then everything came to a crashing halt with the season finale, hopefully series finale of this show. And
I'm pretty sure it's
you know what?
serious.
I've been talking for a long time. Guys, please stop me.
Okay, so look, originally I thought I was kind of excited for this show only because I thought it was going to be something like Winter Soldier, where it's going to be, espionage. It's going to be something, serious, but yet, with a Marvel twist on it. And I was really, really being hopeful. And I really thought that this this show was going to be that. And honestly, first 2 episodes, I was like, okay, it's close. It started to get progressively somewhat good. And then it just turned around and walked up to me, slapped me in the face and says, no, you're not getting something like Winter Soldier. You're going to get this. And I'm upset.
As you should be.
I definitely walked into this probably the most excited for it. High hopes. Samuel Jackson taking center stage, getting his own series away from the Avenger movies. It, in my opinion, started out pretty strong. Questionable creative decisions with certain characters, but I can see why it helped raise the stakes. One good thing I want to mention that was consistent through the whole show, Olivia Coleman as Sonya Falsworth, the MI6 agent. She was really good. She was a scene stealer. They were pretty consistent with her character. Her performance was really good. She had good chemistry with Sam Jackson on screen. But that finale, man, it just felt rushed. It felt so packed in. And I refuse to believe the continuity would
say it, because you're going to take the words right out of my mouth, buddy.
I refuse to believe the continuity with Rhodey. I'm going to believe what I want to believe, that he was
Hey, hang on. While it is a show and while others can, let's try to keep this as spoiler free. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because when I said earlier with like the comic book thing, we essentially like that. This is why I, much like how I feel with Civil War, and I'm just going to talk about this briefly. I felt Civil War and this was done a little sooner than it should have been. These stories should have taken a lot. They should have happened maybe like another 5 years down the road, in the sense that you do need more characters and bigger characters for things to actually happen and you to feel truly invested in. There's one character, Jessica Drew in the comics, Spider-Woman, who was essentially just like taken over from like issue 1. We had no idea she was a Skrull the entire time, and then it's like we finally get to meet the character for the first time. And they attempted to do something similar with this, but they never even answered their own question, because they even asked, how long has this character been taken for? Didn't even give us an answer. Like, was it a week? Was it a month? Was it a year? Now we can honestly ask, was it 10 years?
The
Right
only
now we'll never know, and it bothers me horribly.
The only answer we got, quote unquote, was the director of the show in an interview to confirm how long supposedly that character has been.
That's not an answer, because
I know, that's why I used the quotes.
If you're a writer or a director and you need to explain something in a tweet, in a post, or whatever after the thing comes out, guess what? You fucked up. You fucked up with your job.
Should we I think Johnny 64 has something to say.
Hang on. I want to keep the beast in the cage for a little bit longer, because I just want to like tease him a little bit. I'll be honest. Honestly, Samuel Jackson, I felt like he wasn't even like acting in a role. I understand Nick Fury was essentially like the remake of Nick Fury was essentially just supposed to be natural Samuel Jackson, but I felt like he wasn't even acting with this. And he's a great actor. I love him as an actor. I felt like he just came on scene. It's like, what the fuck is the script? Nah, I got this, motherfucker. And he just threw it over his shoulder and he said, give me the Seinfeld, give me the situation, and I'll react. Right. And I felt like it was not his best performance at all.
One less positive things before Johnny Unhinged gets unleashed. Love the acting between Don Cheadle and Samuel L. Jackson in the restaurant scene. I think that was really good acting. Of course, at that point, I thought the show was heading in a positive direction, but just that one scene alone is one of the few highlights from the miniseries. But I felt it was very intense and very good in that moment of that episode. But that's what I have to say for now.
So I'm trying my best to think of what to say without spoiling everything, and the feeling of just wanting to rebel against everything Marvel right now because of this show. I almost just want to say fuck it and just spoil everything because people just need to know. But I'll do my best. But first, I want to congratulate this show. Right? I want to the show actually managed to give me something to hate even more than multiverse shit, and it's badly written, one-dimensional Skrull shit. And it's just, oh man, I don't even know where to freaking begin with this. But the whole show was badly written. As a whole, the show was badly written. Plot hole after plot hole after plot hole. They didn't care about any of the extra details. The way the Skrulls were implemented, like a situation that the Skrulls are secretly invading by the millions, they can shapeshift into anybody, take their DNA, have their memories. Like it's not a spoiler because like they all pick one human and they stick to just one human the entire time. There's nothing like the whole show was marketed and billed as like, oh, you're not going to know who to trust. It's a political thriller. Like, trust nobody. Anybody could be anybody. And you knew exactly who everybody was the entire time. The motivation of the main antagonist, Gravik, who I can't stand. He's probably one of the worst. He ended up becoming one of the worst antagonists that the MCU has ever had. He is.
But he played a great Ken. He played a great Ken.
Whatever. Yeah, he was in bargain. Yeah. And yeah, that's probably like some Kang multiverse shit. But oh man, and I know we're trying to hide, like we've been alluding to a certain character that goes through a certain thing in this show, and oh man, like the finale. Let's just talk about the finale. Fuck it. The rest of the show is just badly written. It's boring. It's mid. It's just you don't need to even watch it. The finale is by far the worst. Like I haven't been this disappointed by anything in the MCU since Iron Man 3, and this way below that, like way like into the freaking core of the earth. That finale was the biggest insult to every fan's intelligence that I've ever seen out of any TV show for any fandom in my entire life. And like the CGI, the effects, the concept of the fight itself was just such a stupid, like you want to talk about, like we went from a grounded show to this. This was the finale. This was the motivation of Gravik. This was how they were going to take him on. Like, and how they handled Samuel L. Jackson, quote unquote, for that finale between him and Gravik, or lack thereof, and what's her name's character, Gaia, the girl from
Amelia Clark.
Amelia Clark, who, by the way, her character was pretty flat, and I feel bad for her because everything she's in, like, just everything she touches just ends up becoming complete shit when it comes to finales between Game of Thrones and this show. And I think she had another show that was bad, that had a bad ending. This was just like the way that things. And I mean, I guess it's a spoiler, but not really. But like Samuel L. Jackson, like Nick Fury, doesn't do anything in this whole entire show. He starts the series off coming to Earth.
He put on his leather jacket.
I don't give a shit. He could have been naked for like that.
Not to interrupt Johnny for a second, but when I got to that point, because I just finished this, I was the last one to finish the series. I texted our group chat and I said, "Oh, okay, he put on another long coat. Am I supposed to be impressed by this?"
That he keeps in a cemetery. Like you have to make sure that the trench coat is safe and his eye patch is safe. And like another thing too, like all the relationships and motivations and backstories and everything, you don't care for any of it because you don't see any of it happen. It all happens off screen, and you're just expected to just be like, "Oh, this is how things have always been with this character or that character." This is why Gravik hates everybody. Terrible freaking motivation with Gravik, by the way, when he gives his little monologue in the final episode. I was like, "This is why you want to destroy the world." Okay, but and like I said, just so many freaking plot holes. I was like, I feel like I'm watching a bad DC show. Like this isn't Marvel. This isn't MCU. This isn't Kevin Feige. This is like a badly written, like let's just shit it out just to make some money type of show. And I'm very, very disappointed to see that this is how low, Kevin Feige is allowing things to go with this year. It's like nobody cared. Nobody cared.
I think it's not Feige's fault. I think
it is
this
has because he allows it to happen.
No, well, not necessarily. I feel like this is what happens when Bob Chapek.
It's a Kevin Feige production.
It is a Kevin Feige production, so he did sign off on it or something.
Yes, but let's rewind a bit. At the time,
I don't want to play the blame game though. It's not about who's solely at fault because everybody just fucked up. The writers,
right?
Fucked
No,
up.
I agree with that.
Up.
But at the same time, though, when Bob Chapek was CEO of Disney, he took away Feige's ability to control everything.
Mm-hmm.
Only now can he start to get his stuff back. So realistically, yes, we could blame Feige because it was produced by him, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, if his hands are also tied because of the guy who's above him, is it really his fault though?
I don't know, man. He's just been awfully quiet the past couple months. He's been awfully quiet.
Phase 4 was all a Bob Chapek thing. It had nothing to do with,
Well, we're in Phase 5.
We should know it was a bad sign when the introduction of the show is all AI. We should have taken that as a huge warning sign. And like, what is that shit?
It's not all AI. It was started off as AI, and then they tweaked it and everything.
The artist used AI to make it.
It still looked like something that should be in my toilet bowl.
I agree. It should never been the intro.
Everything about this show just looks stupid, man. What else did I hate about this thing? Like,
I want to say that this show was half-assed, but it was nowhere near half. It was like a quarter-assed.
No. All right, all right. No spoilers. We lose characters in this show.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who they are, but their deaths are completely insulting because they just wash over them. Like, okay, this one's gone. We'll cry about it for like 1 minute in this scene, and we're going to forget all about it. And there's like another subplot surrounding this one character's death, and we're going to use this as a thing, as a subplot in this other episode, and we're going to forget about that now too. So that character doesn't matter anymore either.
Yeah,
and it was just
a million
like,
plot holes and deaths literally just for shock value. That's
and there's no payoff to any of it. Like the MCU used to be something where like everything literally everything happened for a reason. Like you could like theorize about shit, maybe it could come true. Like, oh, like this thing kind of happened in the background, like that might be a thing in the movie, like, and it would actually come true to an extent. Here, it's just they're doing what, and this is kind of like a problem with like Phase 4 and Phase 5 in general. But like, there's no payoff to like anything that you see anymore. People die, action scenes happen, fights happen, somebody gets new power or powers. But you know what I'm talking about. But none of it means anything because like by the time like the movie or the show is over, it doesn't matter. You forget about it. So it's just it's all spectacle and no substance. And it's just this was the worst example of it in the entirety of the MCU and like pretty much almost any comic book related piece of media that I've seen. It was a complete failure in my opinion. Complete.
I'm gonna be honest. I would say this is bad fan fiction, but that would be insulting fan fiction.
The fans, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm 1000% with that. Like this is just oh boy. Guys, final thoughts on anything that you've had to say that you've seen at all?
We got to do a follow-up spoiler talk video about this. There's no way there's no way we can't discuss the things that happened by the end of the show. To the viewer, I'm promising you, we are going to give a spoiler talk because there's just the ramifications of the things that happen on the show. We need to talk about.
If you think you've seen Johnny Unhinged before, wait until you see what happens next time. But until then, guys, until we get that video, please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, do all the things down the doobly-doo. Please let us know how we're doing. Please let us know, was this really good? Was it your favorite thing? Do you need better taste? Does this belong in the toilet bowl? Let us know.
All the Avengers completely useless now.
Roll credits.
Roll credits. We're out.